ready for Nailed it. Okay. Well, shall we kick this bitch off? Let's do it. Let's kick it. Howdy, welcome to this week's episode of Vikings, Outlaws, and Cowboys. My name is Vico the Bearded One. You can call me JT for short. And as always, I am joined by the voluptuous, the bougie, the ecstatically happy today, Alex, the Jarl Martinis.
So happy today.
Oh yeah, it's definitely been a Wednesday. That feels like it's a freaking third Monday of the week.
Yeah, right.
Dude, I don't know what's going on. Like I'm like really over the amount of meetings I've had this week.
Yeah, like the amount of meetings are like ridiculous. It's like meetings to have meetings.
Yeah, like this could have been an email is like the theme of the week.
Yeah, this could have been an email that I didn't read. that's that's kind of more where I'm at. And I was off Monday, but yesterday and today sucked.
Yeah, I was off on Monday too. I think you were off golfing, taking naps and dreaming of golfing. Pretty sure that's what you were doing.
No, I played golf. I played golf Sunday.
Sunday? Nice.
Yeah. It rained, it snowed, it hailed, and the wind blew like a mother. And then the sun came out.
While you were golfing?
While we were golfing.
Oh shit. Was it you and Cole?
It was the boat, Cole, and me and Preston. So
okay. 5 of you.
The quad pod.
Oh wait, the boat, Cole. Oh yeah. Okay, 4.
Yeah. The boat only counts as 2 if he's got one of his bitches.
No, that's like 4. That's a 4. That's a trio at least.
Yeah, that checks out.
Yeah, I mean it's a real thing. I mean we're starting off strong already, just dropping dimes. So we're here. Might as well fuck it.
But it was a fun game though.
Nice. On Sunday I did avalanche training.
Sounded like you hiked up a mountain and didn't do anything, from what you told me.
I yes. So other people got to.
Sounded like you got exercise.
I got to pull a sked, which is, for anybody who doesn't know what that is, it's the collapsible body dragging device.
Yeah.
I got to pull that loaded down with 65 pounds of gear for like 4 miles through post-hole knee-deep snow and deadfall and the fucking woods.
So why didn't you get to train?
Because they left us. They left the med team at the back, and they all booked it up there. I was like, maybe that's not a good idea.
How the fuck did you get put on the med team?
Because the med team carries things, and they were like, "Oh, you're big," and I said, "I'm not big," but they said, "You're bigger than anybody else here," because the search and rescue up here is all not in the county that I'm in, the county that we were cooperating with. They're all very granola. Like very, very like I don't eat a lot of meat and fat. I'm very thin, and I could outrun you, but I can't lift a damn thing.
Right. I can't outpace a bear.
Yeah, and I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I volunteered for it, but I volunteered to go learn, and I was very salty at the end of it because I didn't learn anything. I don't have to learn. Yeah, I don't have to learn how to pull something.
Yeah. No, we were taught that.
Yeah, I'm good. I don't have to learn how to pick things up and put them down. Like
right.
that's not really the purpose. And so I had some. So I was in my team. There was an operator, a retired Delta Force operator. Nice guy. But I made sure he knew that what we were doing is not training. We're just there to work out, and that's fine. And then the coordinator was like, "You guys are going off the beaten path," and I'm like, "Because I'm not picking up 65 pounds again to go over 14 deadfall logs that you can't fit this stupid thing through. So I'm going to do what's right and find the path of least resistance."
So do you not have enough snowfall up there to cover the deadfall?
No, dude, we haven't had anything. Like we had the 9 inches. We were in the Beartooths too. So there's gonna be a big time fire season this year.
Well, that's fun.
So I apologized to everybody after I got to the point where we were out of the woods, and I was like, "Hey, I'm sorry, I'm salty, but like, if I'm in the middle of dragging this shit, and like you guys are choosing the most fucked up path and not thinking about us and just leaving us behind, I'm going to tell you my mind. Like, I'm going to tell you exactly what's on my mind. There is no longer a filter. Like, the filter stopped after the fourth giant fucking pine tree we had to cross over
Yeah.
it,
Well,
post hole."
so how are you post holing? There wasn't enough snow to cover the deadfall, but you're still post holing. So how much snow did you guys have?
So it was like mid calf to knee deep.
Just depending on where it was on the mountain.
Yeah, and so like the deadfall, obviously being deadfall, you have different sizes of trees and stuff. Little trees and stuff were covered, but you'd step on them because the snow was still like only like 4 inches deep off the top of that,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then you'd slide across the. I was just like, I'm not breaking an ankle for this.
For not
This is
training.
sure. Yeah, I'm not. I was super salty. I had like you name the kind of salt, whether it was like paprika smoked salt or Himalayan pink salt or whatever type of salt, coarse salt. I was all of it.
It's
What
probably coarse salt.
yeah, coarse, not kosher, not kosher
Definitely not
salt.
kosher. No,
Not
definitely
no, there was none. So
not.
uh, and then I rolled into Monday. Monday I had a good day. My buddy Hook, who I talked about a bunch of times here, is excited to meet you when you come up. We were down at the meadery. I tore apart some walls and reinforced some walls, and then put the walls back together, which is super simple because it's just metal sheeting. But and then I fixed the backsplash, so that was cool. And then we proceeded to partake in some beverages,
Mm.
the ones that look like this.
Oh, the yellow bellies.
Yeah. Uh, until like 9:45, 10 o'clock. Just
That
hanging out.
sounds like a nice little Monday evening.
Yeah. Tuesday was, at all meetings. Like all meetings all the time coming at you. Wah, wah, wah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. So that, I
We
mean,
should we should never have a company culture of meetings for meetings.
fuck no, man. Like I established all the channels. We got the Microsoft Teams. So I put all the channels so you can send me a message and I don't have to jump on a call with you. It's like perfect, you know?
Wonder how much Doc is going to ignore those two.
Oh, he already did. he, he, like we in the
He already,
general
he
chat.
already muted it and left the chat.
No, he just muted it. He just muted it. We had the memes and fun one that I set up for us for our general fuckery, and like we were just chatting. I had everybody check in and make sure we're good, and he was like, "Jesus Christ," and it
Oh
was
yeah,
just
no, I saw it. I was
yeah.
laughing. I was like, man, he's gonna continue mad, continue being
He
mad.
he was salty. He was definitely salty with his response to Nate. That was funny as shit, dude. It cracks me up. It was good times. It was good times. So, so we got some cool updates.
Do we?
Yeah. So, Optimus is coming up tomorrow. It's cool.
Oh,
We're finishing all of the things on the meadery itself. Um, so that way we can get brewing as soon as our inspections come back, being complete, which will be the week after. Septic and well are going in the second week of March. The Stillwater Chamber of Commerce reached out to me today, and we are putting in for a tentative grand opening. Tentative, people.
we're not actually putting a date on it.
No,
It's just gonna be arranged from like the 1st to like the 30th of a month.
yeah. So they blocked out 2 weeks for us for the first part of May.
Hmm.
So yeah. What are you drinking today, by the way?
Oh, just my old go-to, the Jameson.
I'm drinking that Owens Rye whiskey. Not bad
I,
for a mid-afternoon snack.
I wasn't even gonna drink, but I was already angry, so I thought it would help.
That makes sense.
I
Is it
thought it
because of
might.
the?
I thought it might cheer me up.
Is it because of that 1300 meeting that came through? Is that why? Or has it just been
Yeah,
a shit day overall?
well, I mean, there was like the 09, the 10, the 1030, the 11, the 12, and then the 1300 that got slipped in. So it's just kind of like a,
Ooh.
just throw a dart at the calendar, and it's just yes.
Okay.
All
Have you
shit
tried
that are just a waste of time.
have you tried eating today? Have you done that yet?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not hangry.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
I
Listen,
know you
I gotta
I
check on
know
you.
I know you people think that I get hangry, but I just get angry.
What do you mean, you people?
You people. I
Dude,
mean, have you seen me, dude? I could go for like 3 days without eating. I'll be fine.
uh, I don't think you'd be fine. I think you could do it, but like you might be fine in your brain, but the rest of us would suffer. It's no different than when I go like an extra hour or two without food.
Also, not my problem.
Yeah, I can see how you'd be
Just,
like, not my clown, not my rodeo, bitches.
yeah, just stay away from me.
Yeah. We've got a pretty cool updates coming out as well. You guys should start following us on social medias way more. Go follow
That'd
the
be cool.
Jarl. Go follow the Jarl. Come on, he needs followers. What do you have, like 20?
I don't know. I could check. I got a couple. Like, I don't know. Do I count like the fembots and stuff?
Hey, dude, followers are followers, bro.
I have 195 followers, dude. We should
Dude,
see. We should
that's
see if we can pump me up to 200. Let's see if
we
we can
need
get 5 people. Get me
we
to
need two
200.
bills for Jarl underscore BVMCO.
Yeah, we got to get me up to 200. I'm at 195. You guys can
Come
do
on. You guys can totally that's more friends than he has on Facebook by like
right,
75.
and that's counting the fembots. So in reality, it's
Uh,
probably like maybe 100 followers.
we need a Drinking Bros follow train to start again, so that way you can get in on that because that's a big thing. I don't
I
know if
didn't
you're
see that. No, I never saw that.
so that's how I got my initial followers to be able to do the things that I do on Insta. So I was invited to this follow train, which is basically like
Sounds hot.
um it no no most Drinking Bros are not hot.
I don't know. It sounds pretty hot.
So
Follow train.
they'd be like, here's a Drinking Bros follow train, and they'd post it, and then anybody who liked it, you needed to go through and um like the post, and then you'd follow anybody else who liked that post, right? And then it was just like this huge train, and like overnight I got like 1,400 followers
Oh,
in
that's
like
pretty
two
cool.
hours.
That's
Yeah, and
legit.
they were all real. It was awesome.
They
Um,
were all real.
I
That's
don't even
it's always a benefit.
I don't even think I'm at 2K anymore. Like yet, I don't know. Let me see. Close. I'm close. I'm at 1981. I
I was
need
gonna say
19
if you were at
followers.
1995, I was gonna laugh because it'd be like 10 times more.
The problem is like everybody who's listening to us probably already follows me. So
Yeah, I was gonna say I see new people every once in a while.
Mhm.
I got Boondock Dad.
That cat is hilarious. Nick is hilarious. What is up with Nick's
Yeah,
being hilarious? Is it
it's
in their
just
DNA?
it's the Knicks.
Yeah. And then Mike Carlisle, I think he started following me too.
Oh, really? I didn't see if Mike is following you. If not, we're gonna have a very
We're we're gonna have a
spirited discussion,
one
Mike.
one, if you will, Mike,
It's gonna
or
be one on Mike.
or 2v1, 2v1.
2v1. Yes.
Oh, dude. So we're gonna probably end up on what do you call his show? The Carlisle Experience.
I haven't seen that one yet. No, he told us about it, but I haven't seen it yet.
Mhm. We're gonna probably end up on that one. We got the Truth Tall Tales and Whiskey podcast that is about a month behind from being edited, so they just keep filming them. And then,
They got a filming schedule, that's for sure.
yeah, they are stacked on those, so that's pretty cool. Um, and finally, I think for an update is yeah, if you guys haven't followed us or gone to thebeardedviking.com to get our newsletter, you're missing out because there's some great information that we put out there. but we're going to be able to ship to 44 states the day that we open. So you're going to want to get early because it's going to be first come first serve, and we have limited supply. So, and it sounds like there's going to be between 500 and 1,000 people at the grand opening now.
We'll see. We'll see.
Well, I'm just telling you.
I only have 195 followers, bro. So
we're gonna put your name and Doc's name and the boat's name. Follow these guys, and you get 10% off your first drink.
Oh shit! That means I'm gonna have to go down the list.
Yeah.
That would be disastrous, but it sounds fun.
Yeah, dude. That if we end up opening when I want to open up, which I'm not gonna say anything, there are 3 major events that are happening. There is a children's healthcare gala.
Gala?
Gala.
Oh, we said
gala.
We said
New York, it's gala. San Francisco, it's gala.
That's right. I gotta find the phonetic one of it.
So, so there's that. There is the 3-day hot air balloon festival at the same time.
That sounds lame.
Well, I don't care if it sounds lame because they're going to need something to do while they're looking at balloons. Okay. Apparently, the city of Columbus gets about 15 to 20,000 people on it for this weekend.
For hot air balloons?
Dude, yeah.
It is gala.
See?
Galuh.
Galaug?
Gala.
Galug. If you're Scottish.
I would have do you pronounce it gala or gala? Some people have already done the same thing. I think we'll just go with West Coast versus East Coast.
Yeah, we should totally do that. That's fine.
Even though it's probably wildly inaccurate.
People make up words all the time nowadays. There's mumble rap, for fuck's sake.
That's true. And they make money.
That don't make no sense.
They make perceived money. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. If the Island Boys and the Island Boys can fucking say Island Boys 2,000 times and make money, then I can say gala however the hell I want.
I think that that video of the 10-year-old like absolutely folding the one island boy was hilarious.
I did not see that. I need to see that.
Oh yeah, dude. Like he lifted his shirt up and was like showing his abs, and he was like, "Yeah, hit me as hard as you want, kid." And this kid had clearly thrown a punch before. Like his dad was an MMA dad, but this kid was like 10, and he was just like, "Suck, dude." He flared the hill. All the way. And the freaking island boy, dude, just 90 degreed. It was so funny. And then they walked him. They walked the whatever the fuck his name is out of there, and the kid was just like, oh, I knew it. It was so funny.
The 10-year-old's like, this is finally my moment has risen. My time has risen. I'm here. I have now eclipsed my older brother.
Dana White needs to get that kid a contract just for freaking hitting that guy.
Dude, I'm in on it. Dude, I can't stand it. Like, if y'all like their music, it's fine. But like,
did they ever make music? I thought it was just a stupid YouTube video and that was it.
They make they apparently rap.
Yeah.
Not like a cool Busta Rhymes rap or an Eminem rap, but it's just like, we're the Island Boys. They just say it back and forth and rhyme with boys. We make makeshift toys. I don't know.
That's more like an elf, like Santa's elf.
Yeah, like a really like a reject elf, but not one that's cool. That hangs out with Yukon Cornelius. That's a flashback, so we all know.
Yeah.
But you were about to say Buddy the Elf, which I'm really impressed with.
I was going to say Buddy the Elf, but then you got me on the Charlie and the Rainbow Bridge.
Charlie. So we have a pretty good podcast today. We've got our usual men's mental health stuff. Today we're going to take a little bit of a turn on that, and a segment that I really liked. That I think we should do probably a little bit, well, at least once a month, that we'll go through here in a little bit. And yeah, let's jump in, man. So how's your mental health after the meetings today?
It's good. It's better now. It's better now.
Yeah. The biggest thing that I want to talk about today is how you can combat somebody without being violent. So here's the premise of this. All right. So when I was little, I want to say like 8 or 9, my grandma used to have this phrase where she would be like, "You need to learn how to tell somebody to go to hell with a smile on your face." And it's like, I could totally do that, grandma. Watch, go to hell. And I'd smile. That's not what she meant. What she meant was if you have somebody that comes into your space, into your happiness, right? And they start being extra, I guess is the current terms, adjective, whatever. They start being extra and they start imposing on your happiness, your son. You can literally just smile at them and tell them have a good day and just walk past them. You don't have to engage with them. And that's really telling somebody to fuck off without saying fuck off. Like, you don't have to waste the words. Just smile and move on. Because obviously you've done something that has triggered that Karen to the next level. And all you've got to do is just smile and just be kind. And then no matter what, things are good, you know?
What if it's like a massive human being and you've pissed him off and you smile at him?
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you have to be ready to duck?
I think that only requires if you wink. If you smile and wink, there's a little bit.
I don't know. Like, if I'm talking shit, you smile at me, I might be a little bit more pissed off. I might giggle. I don't know. Like, it could go either way.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm just saying, like, you got to be ready to get hit. Like, if you're gonna smile at somebody while they're pissed off, you got to be ready to roll with the punches.
Yeah,
that's just a real life scenario. Like, if you're at the 7-Eleven and somebody's pissed off because you cut the line or something, and they're like inherently large, like, it might hurt.
That makes sense. Yeah, I can see that. But like, I don't know. I don't think that the people who get pissed off all the time that are big are the people who go. I don't know. Maybe I just don't put myself in those situations. Maybe
I'm just saying, like,
maybe like
you live. I will say that you will live this because you'll sit there and smile at me, but I can't punch you through the fucking thing. But like, the next time I see you, I'm like, stop smiling, dude. Stop smiling at me like that.
It will never happen. I will never stop smiling at you because.
I mean, it could be condescending. I get where you're going with it, but
sometimes I am smiling at you just to tell you to fuck off.
You smile at the wrong one, right? I'm not gonna hit you, but somebody might be bigger than you at the filling station.
Oh yeah, that I mean, I just don't engage with people that are like that, anyways. And typically, like a smile is, in a regular context of a smile, right? It's you're happy, right? But I'm also a smartass, so, and it's very very well known that if you say something and I don't go the dark route, which is a 50-50 shot with me.
No, I know the second you have a smile on your face, you went the dark route. Like, you chose violence. So I think, like, I get what you're saying with this, but I think we need to label it something else, maybe.
Maybe smiling that causes violence, or the violent smile.
Yeah, that would make more sense.
Well, I think it creates this, for me, when I talk about smiling when somebody's infringing on my happiness, or as I said earlier, my sunshine. My daughter used to say it that way. So I
think we need to have Fred clip in that Len song, "Still My Sunshine," just for that, just for exploratory purposes.
Just low in the background, just that way it's going.
Yeah.
No, I think when it comes to that, right, there's like many ways that you can protect your happiness or protect your sanity. And I've been down the dark path of PTSD and being angry and all that other shit, which I still have. I'm not perfect. I'm not anything like that. my way of coping is really very much like when you're in a fighting hole in Iraq and it's snowing on you for no fucking reason while you're getting shot at.
But
You just got
that shit's fucking funny though.
no, it's not. It's
No,
terrible.
it's fucking funny now. It
Hmm.
sucked then, but you're just like, oh fuck. Can
Yeah,
anything else happen?
I'm just when you're in that moment, it's like what you could either just get mad, which I've done. Like I've totally got mad, just said, fuck this, fuck you. At the time, I believed in a singular deity, and I was like, why God, why me? In the words of Ryan, like I've gone down those paths, and then there's this darkness that creeps in, and I've become one with the darkness, in the words of Bane, and I literally just I'm like, all right, cool, we're doing dark shit today. Okay, I'm in. And it's a coping mechanism that I've learned to develop because when somebody really interacts with you and they care, you're going to naturally smile and you're going to naturally react. But when they're just being a dick to be a dick, the easiest thing to do to piss them off equally or more is exactly that. It's to smile and then
I
just kind of
don't
walk
know.
away.
I think you're gonna have to break contact. You're gonna have to smoothly break contact.
Oh, for sure. I'm
Unless
definitely
and I mean unless you know that it's a battle you can win, right?
gonna. So, um, but what do you think? What do you do when you're in a situation where you could either result to belittling somebody? Well, actually, I know the answer to this already. Using your big words and putting somebody in a place, and after they've interacted and they put you in a situation where you're just like, no. Do you stand your ground and just hold true? Do you break contact? How do you handle that?
No, I talk a lot of shit. Like I'm not good at that.
I know.
I talk mad shit. Like I won't necessarily like poignantly like and deliberately like destroy somebody, but I will say things that I know that they're not going to understand. And so there might be like one or two people around me that get the joke because I'm telling a joke at that point. Because if I don't, then I'm going to lose my shit. Or if I'll say something absolutely smartass because, but it's usually like to the point, right? Like a
Mhm.
smartass thing where it makes perfect sense. And the logic that they're using is already fucked up and flawed. That's why we're here. That's why we're pissed off.
Okay.
And
I,
then so they like might stand there and like think about it for a minute. But ultimately it's like not up to me to teach the lesson. So I'll just talk shit and I'll decide whether I'm gonna fucking like if we're at Home Depot and something goes awry and I talk shit. Uh Ultimately it's up to me whether I'm gonna pay for it or whether I'm just gonna get the fuck out of there or whatever the fuck the case might be.
right.
Um but yeah, no, I'm more so um I try and just kill people with logic and kill people like in fun ways in my own head because when people start to get uncomfortable, people start to stammer and people
Mm,
start to lose their thought process and especially when they've done something wrong or they've done something shady, they start to backtrack really fast and start to retreat and so maybe that is me like belittling people a little bit because I don't necessarily have a higher IQ, but I have a better way of looking at things in a lot of cases. Like if I'm fucked up and wrong, usually I'm just like, fuck, got me. I'll fight
yeah,
for a minute and then I'm like, ah, fuck.
that's
Yeah,
fair.
yeah, it doesn't really make sense. That's on me.
I I think that's actually your version of smiling at them. Because
Yeah,
there's no
maybe. I
difference
mean,
between the two, and other than you're you have the same possible outcomes. There's only so many outcomes that can actually happen in a situation like that, right? Like you either back off, they back off, or you integrate your
like
conversations,
I
if you
win
want to call it
battles.
that.
I win battles all the time. Like doing what I do, just talking mad shit when somebody does something stupid.
Hmm.
Like, especially when it's like an "I told you so" thing. Like, hey, it's like that per my last request type email.
Oh
You
yeah,
know?
dude. Per my last email,
Yeah,
or yeah,
yeah.
I can see that. I actually have been in those conversations with you,
Or
and
or some
I
some.
Well, and I've also smiled at you during those conversations too, fully knowing well that I'm getting your go and you're getting my go, and we just like build on each other, and then we have to like take a minute, and then we call each other and we hug it out.
Oh, yeah, fuck you. You know,
Yeah.
like, yeah, no, that definitely works. But like, there's a difference. I think there's a difference with like the crew and the tribe and stuff like that, because everybody knows how to get under everybody's skin, right? But like, nobody's really gonna go after each other. If anybody's gonna hit anybody, it'd probably be like you or me. But
Yeah,
that's pretty much it.
they're definitely gonna punch us.
But
There ain't no joke about that.
I just meant like me punching you or you trying to punch me.
Hmm.
Like I don't know that, because Bond is like, he's like the Iron Monk
Bro,
when
can
it
you
comes to
imagine getting
like
hit by
his.
him?
Dude, that would suck. That would fucking hurt.
Dude, I don't know if I could ever get hit by that man.
Like coming from like his midpoint on the ground
Oh
with
yeah,
his
dude. Like,
big ass like Popeye arms. That would
dude,
fucking suck.
yeah, it's not like he's gonna punch you in the jaw. He's gonna punch you in the freaking gut, break a
Dude,
rib, or punch you right in the
if I ever
dick.
have to get in a fight with that old man, I'm taking him to the ground because that's the only place I'll win.
If I ever get in a fight with that old man, I'm just gonna outrun him. I'm gonna keep.
You better watch out. He's
I
fast
got,
as fuck. Fast as fuck, boy. You better hope that your jabs are up to par.
dude. I just got to keep it a distance. You know what I'm saying? I got to play that long game. No, dude, I think that's real. Like the and I think it's interesting because I thought more people um were cynical like me, where they just smile when they're about to be in a conflict. And I don't smile. Honestly, I don't smile because I want to increase it, increase the level of
Is it
conflict.
like it's like a nervous reaction?
No, it's not even nervous. It's like I smile because I'm like I analyze a situation pretty quickly usually because all those years in the military as an infantryman and then also as a bouncer where I actually really fought as a bouncer like hand to hand. Um, I look at people and I'm like, you know, you're gonna fight to win, and I'm not trying to win. I'm gonna kill or maim. There's a difference. There's a big time difference.
I could see that. I could see that smile definitely. Where
Yes.
it's like, oh, God, we're not really fighting this fight.
Yeah.
This is a different kind of fight.
Yeah. Like you might be bigger than me, and you might get me on the ground, and you might win this moment. But like one mind, any weapon. You know, that's like basic Marine Corps Fu technology
One, it's
teachings.
like, what is it? Weapons of opportunity.
Hmm.
It's like I might not be winning now, but I'm gonna be winning later. I promise.
I mean, I'll put you in an armbar, break your arm off with it, and if you get back up, I'll beat you to death with it. I don't care. And like it goes back to like that whole violence. You know, don't disturb me, don't take me out of my happiness because you don't know the violence it took to be this gentle, right? It goes back to that conversation that we had whenever that was. I think it was episode 10 or 15 or something like that. But like if you're in a situation, you have to analyze everything. And for me, most of the time people don't know the differences in my smiles. So they just think I'm smiling because I'm a happy guy. They don't know that I'm smiling because I've got like four plans on how to exit on how to win this battle, right? This little battle here. And
Your plan to kill everybody that you meet.
yeah, you know, there's a very, very maddest portion of my soul that I don't ever really bring out, you know.
It's
Um
like, but like before he was bought and paid for, Mattis, when he
yeah,
was
so
still
like
a warrior.
when he was like a 1 star.
Yeah, dude, it bummed me out so bad. It's like a
Is
Marine Corps deity, and then just
yeah. Oh, hey,
fucking bummed
speaking of
me
which,
out.
did you see that they're speaking of the Marine Corps deity? Did you see that they're moving to uh posthumously, whatever. Um Post death. Uh I can't say the word right now. Um they're looking at giving Chesty a Medal of Honor.
Oh fuck yeah, they should.
He
They
needs
should.
like 5 Navy crosses. Get out of here. Come on,
Why
man.
not? Yeah, I mean
Like
five. It should take 5 for 1, right? You
whatever,
get five
dude.
Navy crosses, you automatically
Yeah,
get a
yeah,
Medal
yeah.
of Honor.
It's like the squad leaders that I was with over in Afghanistan all got Bronze Stars, and I was like, for what?
Oh wow, that's fucking cool.
I was like, I wish I was a squad leader.
It's like giving me a Bronze Star for going to Korea.
I was, don't get me wrong, some of our squad leaders were good, but like they weren't Bronze Star good. Like you just let us. Like we did
Like
our job, you did your
like
job.
like a little bit better than Nam, but definitely below Bronze Star.
Yeah, like an achievement medal versus an accommodation medal or whatever. So switch that. Accommodation medal is what they should have got,
Right.
and not an achievement. Like that's fine. Whatever. We'll just give
Huh.
out awards like candy. That's
Oh,
also
that's cool.
that's where I started learning how to smile too.
Just pumping up the resume.
Yeah, I'm like, all right, cool,
We should
whatever.
start giving out medals in the Bearded Viking.
No.
Like people that have gone through the wars.
Everybody right now gets a
It's a ketchup stain.
yeah, just 100%. This is your you made it this long award. This is your 3 years good conduct medal.
It's just a sticky honey colored badge.
Yeah, I mean on it.
Pretty sticky.
Yeah, and it doesn't even have a backing on it. It's just literally just like honey.
No, you just gotta
sticking
glue it on whatever shirt you put it on. It
Yeah,
stays.
it's there. It's done now.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, so
We'll
that
get
kind
those
of actually,
old school. We gotta get the old school Bearded Viking like war hats, and we'll just start sticking medals on them for Bearded Viking.
like the original black hat that I have with the black lettering that's all like sweat stained from dying over the
Oh yeah,
past 2 years.
dude, that's my lawn mowing hat now, dude. It's like it's so gross.
Whenever I have to go do anything on the metery, I wear that hat because I'm always like, I'm gonna fucking die in here. It's so hot. Like I'm used to like 25, 30-degree temperatures, and in the summertime, I'm like, oh God, fuck my life.
Yeah, I was gonna say you and the boat. You're the overheaters.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Like I was like moving around down there, and like it's kept at like 64 degrees right now. When I'm working down there, because other people come in and they get cold or whatever. And I was like in shorts and a t-shirt the other day, just inside, just cruising around. I'm like, it's not cold in here. And 6 inches of insulation up top, of spray foam. So it's like,
Yeah.
doesn't lose heat. It's crazy. But that actually is a great segue too. So let me wrap up this real quick with the smile. So I actually want to hear from the listeners on this one. Like, what do you do? How do you tell somebody to fuck off, but not engage in their conversation? What do you do? Do you just ghost them? I mean, a cold shoulder is just as good as a fucked up smile, I think maybe. But I think the fucked up smile says more.
It might. I think bruising egos is better though.
Doesn't a fucked up smile when somebody thinks that they've got you and you just smile back like no man, and then you just say have a great day? Doesn't that like mind fucking worse?
I think potentially it's like fuck. What does that guy know that I don't?
All the men out there that are being persecuted, there's enough negativity, right? But what do you do? How do you keep yourself in check in life, outside of just being strong? Because there's every part of a human, the core basis of a human, likes to be recognized. And we talked about it a little bit like a while back about how, my goal is to leave something for my kids and for them to see the work that I did and the impact that I had in life for people. Not that I'll ever receive an award for that. And I don't want one personally. I don't want anybody to ever give it to me. Like, if you guys want to talk about it, tell my kids about it. Right? It's not a thing. So, but how do you keep track of those? Like, how do you keep yourself in check with things? How do you set the bar so you can make sure that you feel like you're accomplishing positive movement in your life?
Oh, that's a hard question. 'Cause I don't really like celebrate it. Like if I do something cool, I'm like, it's kind of like you'll get this reference, like you do a cool trick at the skate park. It's really fucking cool for like 5 seconds,
Hmm.
and like whoever's there gets to see it, and then after that, it's over.
Hmm.
Like you might tell a couple people about it. But that's really it. They're like bullshit,
Hmm.
but I don't know. I think I'm pretty low key when it comes to that stuff, like personal achievements and stuff like that, and what we're doing, what I'm doing. Um, I think just the I would even take let's take our graduation for an example, right? I think it's a
Yeah.
good example. When we graduated college, you and Ray, we'd been in classes forever together,
Hmm.
and we'd go drinking at lunchtime and stuff like that, and I go back to class. We hung out, like we were all pretty close,
Hmm.
and we I would there you guys were asking if I was gonna walk at graduation. I was like, no, like why? But you guys were dead set on, hey, we're gonna walk at graduation. And I think it was you that asked me, hey, dude, just come walk with us. That way we can all do it together because we're here. And like I finished out with you guys and, you know,
Hmm.
paraphrasing, right?
Yeah.
So at that point, I was like, okay, like I'll come. But I wanted to be there for for you guys because you guys had a different, uh, past and upbringing, and like you didn't get to do like the whole like fancy high school thing and everything. And I was like, okay, I'm like, dude, that checks out.
Hmm.
But like with that accomplishment, I didn't really care to go, you know, hang out in the auditorium and walk across the stage or whatever and have like family see it. I was just like, okay, well, I'll get a little certificate in the mail and like Bob's your uncle, right?
Yeah.
But we made a good time out of it, right? We had
Yeah.
fun with it, and like we came up with our own fraternity and just made asses out of like everybody.
Dirty
And
birds.
yeah, it was great. We had a fun time, right? So it's not like a time that I would take back, but it's not something that I would typically do,
Hmm.
and in like some people that's a huge, milestone, getting a bachelor's degree, or like you getting your master's degree or something like that. But for me it was just like, oh, well, this is a Tuesday. Like, can we go get hires? Can we go get hires after this?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? I wasn't.
Yeah.
So I think like achieving those things and like doing these cool things, and like with the meadery and what we're doing with that, and like our little wins every day, because now we're starting to get little wins every day. I think it's important, but I think it's more important to stay humble about it
Hmm.
than to just be outwardly like, we did this, and this, and then like we did this part and it was cool, and like I did all this, and like it just doesn't really kind of jive with the
Yeah.
the way I do it, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Totally.
Like I
So
get wanting like a pat on the back every once in a while if you do something awesome, but like I am totally okay. Like I would say coming home from work, but when Justine comes home from work, I'm like, listen to this shit. Like telling her, she's like, that's cool. I'm like, that's all I need.
yeah. Yeah.
Like that's it.
No, that's but
I'm like,
that's
you want to
that's
drink about it? You want to go to a restaurant? Like,
yeah, that's a
just
valid point, right? So that's how you celebrate your achievements. It's funny because you bring up like the University of Phoenix and when we graduated. For me, walking was important to me because it was like the final piece that I'd never done before. Like
yeah,
boot camp graduation was cool. It was really really cool, and I was super humbled that I made it and
so
all that
much
shit.
fun.
Yeah, like
First try.
first try, one go, good, right? But like for me, when I walk, it's not for me. Like honestly, at the end of the day, like I'll be walking in the master's from a master's degree because I'm the third person in my family to ever have a master's degree, and my dad and my mom are super excited for me. They want me to walk, which is cool. Like I get it, but like I've already walked now. Like I don't need to. I'm good, right? And you go back to when Ray walked out of class at halftime on his last class and left me and you there because we had to stay to hit our
Yeah,
extra
because
2 points.
Yeah, he was done. We needed the C
We
to
need to
get the
see,
degree.
yeah, right. And then he posted the whole bachelor's degree check, and that became our mantra as a crew, right? Like so, in keeping up with those times, when I finished the master's degree, which by the way, I had more fun doing the master's degree than I had doing the bachelor's degree because I learned so much more that was actually focused in what I was doing. Um, when I when I finally got that 100% clear good, some confetti on a freaking computer screen. I just kept up the tradition. That's all I cared about. I was just keeping the tradition. It's funny, right?
Yeah.
And
Well, and go ahead. Go ahead.
oh
Sorry.
yeah, so and I was extremely humbled by how many people commented and liked and did all the things. It was literally just a joke to me to post that because that's what we did. Because everybody who knows me knows that like I struggled with one specific class for a year. And that's fine. And I kind of talked about it here, but that's how I relate to people is I tell them like, hey, I struggled. That means I know that you struggle, right? Um, and I can't speak to other people's struggles. I can only speak to mine. But when I posted that, I was 100% just following our path. And like, I was extremely humbled. And I didn't necessarily want the pat on the back from anybody else. I just wanted to do what we had already done. We've already set a trend. And I look at when I get achievements, like for instance, I got a letter, my final letter of appreciation from the Sapper company was mailed to me. I asked the CEO, who was my CEO at the time, why he hadn't awarded it to me. It was something that I wanted just for me, for my wall, not for anything else, because it was 6 years of hard fought battles, like real battles, right? Real life shooting at people, getting blown up, getting shot at, all those things, and that's from my wall. Um, for me, this is a statement that closes this chapter of your life.
Yeah, I think you're more external when it comes to achievements than I am.
Probably.
Um, because like even when it comes to using your phone to take pictures and stuff like that, as an example,
Hmm.
like people are like, "Did you get a picture of it?" I'm like, "No, I fucking lived it. Like I was there. I'll remember it." And like I have, my office here is my I love me room, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
Like I have like my Marine Corps shit all over the walls and like some cool books. I got bearded Viking bottles. I got some bearded Viking stuff like but it doesn't do much. It just sits in here on the shelves. But like I know I did it. I know what I was there for. I know what
Hmm.
I wasn't there for. But it's kind of funny, like even so just recently I bought the Nova back, right?
Hmm.
And rainy, just shitty night, and the truck shows up with the car, right? Well, he's got to back a car out before he can get the Nova out. And Sam was sick. So I told him, I was like, you know what? Stay in the garage, buddy. I was like, you're gonna want to see this. I was like, this is for you. And this Hellcat, of course it was a Hellcat, Dodge Challenger, brand fucking new, just black on black on black. Starts up and he has to back that out first. And then in true fashion, because it's my car that I bought back and somebody fucked it up while he had it, the dude starts the Nova up and immediately you know exactly what car it is because that car is very distinctive.
Hmm.
He fucking broke it. he broke the door. Right? The door is stuck shut because he sat on the lock when he fucking Dukes of Hazarded it. So I can't get the door open and he couldn't figure it out. I'm like, just get the fuck out of the car, dude. And it's raining. It's like terrible. I pull in the garage, see the look on his face, right? And he's just ecstatic. He can't believe that I got it back. He didn't know that it was coming back. He had no idea, like, that the guy was selling it, or wanted to sell it back. Like, nothing, right?
Yeah.
So, like, in my mind, that was like an achievement, but also just put it back in the garage and just kind of went on, just kind of went on with life. I knew there's some things that I needed to do, but like the look on his face will forever live rent free in my mind. And people were asking, "Oh, did you get video? Did you get pictures?" And like, no, no, I didn't. Like that was more like one of those things that was for me and that was for him.
Hmm.
And that's why I wanted him outside so he could see it and be happy that it was back
That makes
home.
sense.
And that was good enough for me, dude. I didn't need to video it. Like it would have been cool, like if it showed up earlier and I'd have been able to pick him up from school or something like that. But like that was kind of not really an achievement, but just kind of like an example of, hey, like this is between us. This is really freaking cool because this is something that we both really like and love, but nobody else is ever going to see it.
Yeah.
There's no plaque, there's no banner, you know. There isn't, the flags behind me, like those are special to us, right?
Yeah.
There's one in the center, which is the bearded Viking flag, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then axe above it. It's all special to us, right? But like
Yeah.
people aren't gonna know.
So it's interesting, um, because I have a different take, but the reason why I have a different take is not what you would think. The reason why I have a different take is because of my blasts in Afghanistan. So I started realizing that I don't remember things like as clearly as I should. That's why I always take notes, and that's why I always like take photos and things. Because if I see something, then I'll remember that moment. But if I don't see it, or the end, somebody's trying to describe a moment to me. I mean, you've done it many times. That you're like, dude? Do you remember that time you did this thing? And I'm like, I have no fucking clue what you're talking about. And I love being in the moment. I I like to capture an essence of the moment for me personally. Like I have a million photos on my phone. Like I think I really almost have a million photos on my phone at this point. And they're all moments that are very special to me, that remind me of the life that I'm living. And those are my personal achievements that I keep. Does that make
So it's
sense?
like a trigger object.
Yeah, it's not. And I share them on Facebook. This is the other thing that's funny, right? So I share them on Facebook because before the new iPhones and they started having the memories on this state or memories, whatever in the past,
Hmm.
Facebook would remind you. So I used Facebook for the longest time, and I still kind of do, as like kind of my diary, my photo diary, because it will come back up and say on this year, 2 years, or on this day
Yeah,
2 years
and we've
ago.
said that before. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and uh, I've got to the point where I have a lot of followers on Facebook and Instagram and all those other places. Not as many as like some sort of insta famous person or whatever. I'm not an influencer at all, but um, I still do that for me. And like, I don't look at all the likes at all. The only thing that I look at for likes is the TikTok videos, but that's because it's business. I want to see what like our data is, right? That's
Hmm.
it. And nothing I put on TikTok is actually really about anything that's not the meatery. I that's all we do there, right?
Yeah, and like with the Facebook and stuff like that, like I don't have like a Yarrow Facebook or anything like that. Like my Facebook is my Facebook. So
Hmm.
like that one is like my military buddies. It's, it's like my close, family, friends, and then I have some acquaintances and stuff on there. But it's
Hmm.
like if I don't actually know you, like that one, I'm not accepting anybody.
Yeah.
But Instagram, like anybody do your thing, like follow it, and I'll do my best to follow people back. And
Yeah.
I've done pretty good at that. But yeah, there's definitely like the business and personal stuff, um, separation for sure.
Yeah.
But
It's good.
I didn't get blown up, right? So I don't have to have like a memory trigger. Um, so
It's
I
it,
mean that makes sense.
it's weird
But
to me on that note, on that because like before then I never, like, number one, I never had a camera and I could remember everything. Like I remember not everything, but I remember awesome moments, right? I remember these specific moments like with John Wall, right?
mm,
And stuff that we did in Okinawa and stuff that we did in like Iraq together and moments as a child and in high school and shit. But then after that, after I got blown up, it was like, you know, you don't get to remember those things. And um I'd even say when I was working so much that I was just completely exhausted all the time is very similar to having like that memory fog. And
yeah,
so
just that
like,
brain fog.
yeah, so like I look at it and when I have those photos of us all together, right? When we're all working, I stop and I take photos of all of us doing stuff together. Like everything we do is really because of the group of men we've surrounded ourselves with and our partners, you know. But those achievements and those moments, to me, that's how I have to remember them. And it sucks because like I would rather just put my phone down and be there and be able to remember it. But I know that I can't. And it's the part that sucks.
Yeah, usually I can remember pretty good. I mean, like with the meadery and stuff like that, I'll take pictures and stuff like that, just because it's usually, oh, I heard that one.
Yeah. So
Nailed it.
got to come over here. Like
Yeah, I mean
memorizing.
the same one won't crack twice. If you crack another one, it'll be gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I mean, there's definitely stuff that like I take pictures for, right? Because it's just convenient, right? It's
Yeah.
always there. But yeah, I don't the social media stuff, really bad at it when I should be better at it.
Mhm.
Especially when it comes to like the business stuff and like Instagram stuff. Um, Facebook, I just kind of like talk shit, have fun with people. Um, but yeah, I think like when it comes to like the personal achievements, we're definitely we're definitely a lot different, if not just absolute opposites when it comes to that. And it's not a bad thing, right?
Mm-mm.
Opposites attract. Hey, dude.
Yeah. Hey, boo.
You know,
Yeah.
but it's just like for everything that you do, I don't.
Yeah.
For
And
everything that I do, you don't.
yeah, I mean,
Like
it's
that
just how
type of thing.
yeah, it makes sense. And I'll tell you this, like my own personal achievements, the ones that I hold the closest to me, you know, very, very small amounts of people know what those are.
Well, I mean, dude, we all know that you love you.
Well, I do love me because I had
Like
to battle.
you love you, bro. You
I know.
love you.
I walk past me and see me. Ooh, no. Uh,
Listen, he's got mirrors on every single one of his walls, everybody.
no, 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 because that's a mirror dimension shit I'm not having in
Even
this
on the
house.
ceiling. Even on the ceiling.
Who doesn't have a mirror on the ceiling in the bedroom?
I was talking about the front room, guy.
Oh. So let's move on to the final portion of men's mental health real quick today. I think that's probably the best option at this point because we've covered a lot of stuff and a lot of things are kind of heavy.
Covered some
But
ground.
yeah, we did. We definitely we've traveled down the paths. But I think the final thing that I want to talk about and is things that we've been really kind of preaching and actually things that you and I have been doing lately, which is lifting heavy things. So we talked about the art of smiling or how you combat people and keep them away from your sunshine. um, and then also, how you document your personal achievements. I just ran in through the personal achievements of how I just kept an action register basically of what I'd done and how that worked. And I think the last thing is, so now you've talked about protecting your personal space. So that's like a mental process, right? How you keep yourself in check emotionally, so that way you can feel like you're winning. And the last piece is the physical side. Um, and I titled this the lift heavy shit section, but it's not really necessarily lift heavy shit. I think it's being active in life and in every aspect of it and being able to be there. So in order to really be happy and protect yourself, you have to do physical activity. In the past, we've talked about how there is a direct correlation between technology and the decline of testosterone in men. Now, we've been challenged on that by one or two people, but if you really think about it, it makes sense. If you're scrolling on your phone for 4 hours a day, and not doing anything physical, one, you're losing mental capacity. And number two, you have a dopamine kick that's kicking in and is giving you a exhilaration for your brain. And
Mhm.
three, you're letting fatigue hit in for your muscles, so you're not strong anymore. You're not cardiovascularly fit. Not that you have to be like extremely cardiovascularly fit, but you should probably be able enough to hike up the road a little bit. Um, so what do you do to keep yourself physically happy?
You're talking about picking things up and putting them down. Um, when we started January off, I was picking things up and putting them down pretty good. But the whole damn family got sick for like 3 weeks. and using that as my freaking excuse. Like, I was the only one that wasn't sick, so I was like a wet nurse for everybody around here.
Yeah.
Um, so between dodging flu bugs or whatever the fuck was going on around here, like, it just didn't. I don't know. It just wasn't jiving with me to go pick things up and put them down. I think that after those times when you're good, you can go work out and do physical activity. I think it's always better. Like, you always get like that endorphin rush. Especially, kind of when you have an idea of what your routine is going to be. So I think it's good. Like, and even after, like, this might sound dumb, but like, even after we go to baseball, right? I don't get to play anymore, right? So those
Yeah.
that can't do teach. um, but I might throw freaking, a bucket of balls to 12 kids in a night. So by the time it's over, I got at least a good 150 pitches into me, or more. So, and like after, I'm like, okay, like, this feels like a workout. Like, and it's usually cardiovascular, right?
Yeah.
And then if you're fucking up, or it's going towards a kid, you got to figure out like where your arm slot is, like shit like that, just dumb shit. But like, so you're constantly thinking about what you're doing physically, and then you're thinking about trying to teach them how to do it too. So like, that was a constant that didn't go away, and it
Yeah.
hasn't gone away. So so I would say, like, doing something physical, that would be the activity that I do the most, like, especially consistently, is because at that point, like, those people, those kids, like, those people are relying on me to do it all the time. So accountability is much easier for something like that. When
Oh
it's
yeah.
only me that's holding me accountable to go to the gym and like lift things up and pick them down, and put them down, that's a little bit harder. And we've talked about like that self motivation to do stuff like that. But I think that overall, yeah, you get a good kick from it for sure.
Yeah.
But motivating yourself to do it is like, or at least me motivating myself to do it, that's the fucking hard part.
So for me, I like working out a lot. I really do. But I'm also very, 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 very active a lot of the time, especially now that the master's degree is done and I don't have to sit in front of a computer more than I have to for work or the podcast,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I'll be at the meadery and I'll be working, or my favorite thing to actually do for a workout is either swing an axe or shoot a bow. I love that shit. Like
I mean,
during
how
like
often do you really do it though?
so from the beginning of April or late March through the beginning of archery season, I'll shoot 60 to 100 arrows a day. But I have the yard to do it. So often. So,
I
but
would
like,
I would just be surprised if I came up there and I saw you shoot 60 to 100 a day.
if you were coming up here, I'm going to be drunk. So there's not a that I don't do that when people are up here.
Mm.
And most of the time, there's not a lot of people up here. The other thing too is like with the I actually like I think I've talked about this before in the past. Is I recently found out how much I love chopping wood. Like my dad was like, they have a pneumatic wood chopper, and I'm like, I don't need a pneumatic wood chopper, man. I'm actually getting really good at freaking splitting wood. I like it. It's cathartic being outside, drinking a nice cold beer and swinging an axe and freaking chopping wood and stacking wood. There's something about that to me that is absolutely calming, and it's just also like with the bow, right? Um, I got strong in my back this last year because of the dedication that I had to archery hunting. Because I was slinging a shitload of arrows. Like seriously, like the the days when my shoulder would start hurting, which I have like a spot in my shoulder if I don't stretch before I do anything. It's like almost a hitch in my giddy up, if you want to call it that. So, but I would shoot 60 to 100 arrows a day, and I was dead accurate at 20, 30, and 40 yards. But when I got to 60 yards, if I didn't have my glasses on, I couldn't see the target. So it was what it was.
Old man struck.
But yeah, it's fucking bullshit. But I don't have a problem working out or getting the motivation to work out unless I'm scrolling. If I'm scrolling, I don't even want to leave the captain's chair, bro. Like that single recliner that I got upstairs is like my chair. That's the captain. I'm the captain, you know? But I don't want to leave it because it's easier to be lazy when it comes to that shit, you know? It's easier to be like, no, man, I'm mentally exhausted and I don't want to go count however much a 45 and a 35 is on a bar and see if I can push that up and down a whole bunch of times till I'm physically exhausted as well,
Right.
you know? So, I have noticed this, and when I work out, I'm extremely happy. Like if I'm out in the woods, and after all bitching aside, because I was there for training, but if I was there to go for a hike or a walk, I would have bitched it all. Like it just is what it is, right? There's an expectation and whatnot that I have in my mind. If you tell me I'm going to do something and we do something completely different, and I'm not mentally prepared for whatever that is, like I'm not going to be as excited about doing it. But I love rucking in the woods at my own pace, doing the things that I want to do. Like I don't like rucking just to ruck. I like to go explore and be off the beaten path and kind of see what's out there. I love that shit. And whenever I do that, much like this podcast, I have a euphoric feeling afterwards. I feel just calmed and relieved, and I just feel like I beat the demons for another day. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't even have to dance with them when I do that. They don't want to dance with me. And so on top of that, it increases my lethality as a protector of the house. You always have the ability to use a firearm to stop an aggressor, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, sometimes that lethality doesn't need to be lethal. It needs to be more force on force violence of action. And so I look at myself and I say, okay, well, I live on top of a mountain. I can see anybody coming from over a mile away. It's not a big deal, right? Like, I understand that. However, at the same time, I want to make sure that I'm putting myself in a situation where I can protect those that are around me. And I'm not saying, by the way, for anybody who's not doing these things that you're doing it wrong. You have your own thing, but um, there's definitely a piece of me that finds a calming sense whenever I do something that's physical, that's taxing, that pushes me to be better today than I was yesterday, whether that's, with my legs or my shoulders or working out, or swinging an axe or whatever it is, it doesn't matter to me. And that's actually a really easy thing for me to do these days. Um, I looked at it and when I was writing the agenda today, and I was like, we have talked about this, but I don't think we've talked about it as a way to protect yourself from the negativities of the world. We've said that you need to do this to be a protector. And I started thinking about how important it is to be physically protected, because in doing so, you do get the dopamine, you do get the that euphoric feeling, you get that sense of accomplishment.
I think that the excuse that gets made the most is not having time for it. And
It's the simplest excuse.
well, yeah, but I mean, there's also,
It, it,
on the flip side, not everybody's Mark Wahlberg getting up at 4 a.m.
no.
and going to bed at 8:30. You know what I mean? And like his regimen, his routine is freaking insane, right?
Hmm.
And the dude's jacked. Maybe it takes a more disciplined mind too to take and put like your physical fitness over like the people and the things you have to do, because you don't have small kids.
Oh,
You
yeah.
you get to just, after work, do whatever the fuck you want to do. Like you're not exactly going to the cinema later today.
No.
You know what I mean?
No, 100%. And that's this
So
is a great point, by the way. Continue.
so there's definitely like, I don't want to say an excuse, but there's a caveat, right? And with
Mhm.
my schedule, I drop my boys off in the morning while I'm working generally. Like there's so many times where I drop my kids off and I've already been on a call at seven
Yeah.
in the morning, or I'm still on a call or on a different call when I drop them off at school in the morning. And then I gotta pick them up too at
Yeah.
3:30 and make sure that when we get home, all their stuff is taken care of. Like their homework, they've read, they've done all these things.
Hmm.
And like I don't know. I mean, like I do this every day with like a 9-year-old and a 5-year-old. Trying to keep them on track is like trying to keep fucking 15 Marines with live rounds from shooting themselves.
Oh yeah, for
Okay.
sure. Yeah.
So like trying to keep them on track and then do like the side stuff that we have for Bearded
Hmm.
and finish everything else up that I have to do, that gets fucking old, right?
Yeah.
Not that I don't want to do it. It's just it gets not old, but it gets taxing, right?
Oh yeah, you get
And
worn out
then
real fast.
yeah. And then, you know, my wife gets home, right? At like 5:36. And like we've already done this rigmarole for like 2 fucking hours. I'm like, fuck this. Like I don't want to do this shit anymore. So like the last thought in my mind is I'm gonna go down in the basement and then I'm gonna work out for a fucking hour.
There's a it's very important for everybody to understand this too, right? So we all have different lives and we all live our different ways. And even though Al and I are best friends, like best friends, right? We we literally are not focused on um always doing everything 100% all the time. And you can't be. And you call out something great. I started off way young raising kids, right? I don't
Mm-hmm.
I don't have that anymore. My youngest
Well,
is going to be 17 this next year, and
it's
that's
just it's just
com-
different
yeah,
parts of life, right?
yeah,
But so it's just like if I don't fucking wake, so like the only time that I have to spend with my wife is usually like from like 8:30 9 o'clock till like midnight or like 11:30 or something like that.
hmm,
Like that's the only time that we have together. So like if I'm working out, like from the time that like she gets home to the time that like we decide that we're gonna have dinner or something like that, that's just like that less that you know minus that time from the time that we get to hang out. So everybody's like, well, why didn't you go to bed earlier? Well, it's because like we take care of the kids and then the kids go to bed at like 8:30, right?
yeah, yeah,
So if I go to bed at that time, we don't actually get to hang out or talk or like have any kind of relationship.
yeah.
So I would go and I did this for a while where I was waking up at like 5:30, 6 o'clock, and went to the gym for like 3 months. And like I saw the difference, right?
Hmm.
Like absolutely saw like the physical changes, like mental changes and everything like that. But it also becomes like exhausting.
Yeah. So there's definitely that mentality. We talked about this before. Like there's the Andy Frisolas and the Jocko Willocks out there, and the Mark Wahlbergs, and they're fucking like on their regimen, right? They go to bed at 8:30 or 9. But I'm living my life the way that I live my life, right? And everybody should.
Well, and
And
that's go ahead, sorry.
and you've already even stated, right now you're out there being physical, 2 or 3 times a week with your kid, with good old Sabretooth. And I'm not, and when I say beef, lift the heavy shit, pick it up, put it down, whatever, you know, I'm not telling everybody to do that, like go out and be physical. I'm saying do something physical each as much as you can. Put the phone down, right?
Yeah.
go do something that requires some sort of fresh air.
Right.
Be
Well,
outside.
and the thing, so like all these guys that we look up to and people look up to, they've really hit their stride in the past like 5-10 years. I
Yeah.
would even say like maybe like 5 to 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
But all these men are also have kids that are way younger. They're in like they're in your stage
Mm-hmm.
of life, right?
Yeah.
Where they get to focus on themselves primarily. I mean, I don't know what the fuck, Marky Mark has going on, but he's an actor, right?
Yeah.
So who the fuck knows how much that guy has to work during the day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Only like him and his people do. And like not talking shit, but I have no idea. Right?
Most of his roles
You have no
require
idea.
him to be. And most of his roles will require him to be physically fit.
Right. Well, he's got to be jacked. He's funny as fuck. Like he seems like a super cool dude, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would never take anything away from him. Jocko, 4 kids. They're all older. His youngest kid, let's see, is like 16, right?
Yeah.
3
Yeah. So
daughters, ages 18, 19, and 10, and then a son who's 16. So he's got a 10-year-old boy. That's his youngest kid.
Mhm.
Okay. The only one out of all of them that has a younger kid, I think, is Tim Kennedy.
Sean Ryan.
Yeah, but Sean Ryan is not going out there getting fucking jacked every fucking day.
True.
And what Sean Ryan does now for a living is this. He does a podcast and he interviews people. So he's doing research and he's doing interviews.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, obviously the dude takes care of himself, but he's not like out trying to fucking eye gouge motherfuckers like Jocko and everything. But Tim Kennedy's like the one with the youngest kid out of all of them.
Yeah.
And he's probably one of the ones that I respect the most out of, those people that we look up to.
Mm-hmm.
But his life is totally unreal.
Oh yeah,
Like,
dude.
like nobody gets to fight in the MMA while they're in the army. Like, how the fuck he pulled that off blows my mind. Like, I would love to ask him that question because I think it's fucking awesome that he did it. And some of us are better than others at fucking doing shit like that, right?
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. I think it's interesting because you bring up a great point, and this is probably something because like we have listeners of all ages with kids and not kids and all these things, right? Here's the only caveat that I would say that I have for it, because I can count based off of what my phone says I do, right?
Mm-hmm.
3 to 4 hours a day that I mindlessly scroll, not all at the same time usually. I hope. I hope. But there's been days when you scroll all day long when you're just like fucking done with the world for a minute, right? And you're just trying to find hope. Like you're trying to find a cool
Right.
fucking like a cool
Like,
video, like
what am I
something
gonna do about my
inspirational.
car? Yeah.
Yeah. Right. But like there's still time that we could do that. And goes back to that technology piece that I said earlier. Um, where if you didn't have the technology, what would you be doing instead? Would you be sleeping? Because in the middle of the day, like if you had just the computer and we didn't have all these apps on our phones and you just did your job, you could find time in the day to do something different. And I look at that and I'm like, that takes a level of discipline that I don't have, nor will I ever have. Not because I'm not going to aspire to it, but because we're running a business that we're starting that's a social media driven marketing campaign. Because I'm not paying for commercials, you know? So you look at it and you're like, okay, well, there's times that you could do it. But sometimes you just need an hour in the day to not be involved in anything. Like you just mentally taxed and done. And in those moments, it's probably best for you to get outside at least and be mentally taxed. If you're going to scroll outside in the sun. You know what I'm saying?
Like, I'm trying to go out and like drink whiskey and have a cigar. Like, don't get me wrong, dude. Like, I would love to have like 6-pack abs and be just yoked all the time. but
I
like,
have no
I don't have the discipline like in this life right this second. I do not have the discipline for that.
I
And
don't think that it, like most of us, once you get past like 35, like there's no part of me that wants a six pack. You know what I want? I want to be built like a barbarian. Like I want to be built like a freaking Viking, right? I want to be strong and I want to be able to protect my family and
do you want to hear
but
the ultimate irony?
yeah, go ahead.
During that like 2-3 months
Hmm.
where I was getting after it at like 6 a.m. or 5:30 every fucking day, I dropped like 35 pounds or something like that.
Yeah.
You know what fucking ruined the whole thing?
Here.
Doing abs.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I
Because you pulled
literally
an
pulled an
ab
ab from here all the way down.
on the ab roller in Texas.
On no, no, it wasn't in Texas.
Oh,
No, it was after Texas. Um, I can't even pinpoint like what the fuck I did, but it was legit. I had to go to the doctor because I thought I had a hernia, but he's like, no, he's like, you just pulled your ab from like stem to stern. I was like, well, that's fucking cool.
dude,
It, but
that's brutal.
that's I know that's the thing is like you're on your way to like becoming like you said a barbarian, and I don't really give a fuck whether I have abs or not. Which I just don't want a dicky do, right?
Hmm.
So as long as I can get rid of the dicky do by summer, I'm happy.
Well, and it's funny because we've talked about this often, and we keep talking about it, and it's something that will always be here for us because as a man, you need to be strong. I'm sorry, that's just there's no excuse to me, right? You don't have to be as strong as me, but you need to be strong for yourself, right? And I'm not going to ever be as strong as like an Arnold, and I'm never going to be as strong as a Brian Bond. It's never going to fucking happen. Mostly because we're all built different. And I'll be stronger in some areas than them, and they'll be stronger, except for Arnold. He doesn't count. He's not human.
You can
Um,
run.
no, right. The thing is like, we talk about this. The reality is, I'll give you an example, right? The boat he's strong for what he has, but that motherfucker can walk. He
No,
is a rucking son of a bitch.
he will walk the fuck out of shit.
He will not stop walking just to prove that he can walk further than you. But that's the thing, right? So that's what that's what his physical activity is. Now, for me, like I said, my favorite thing is to shoot the bow and swing an axe. I have been making a concerted effort to lift heavy shit with my legs because I have big shoulders. I have a nice, like a nice back, like for me in my mind. But my legs are the part that I could be stronger at. And I need the legs for the hunting season that's coming up because after last year's experience, I realized that I am not strong enough in the legs to do the things that I want to do. I took down a deer. I plan on taking down an elk this year. And next year, we're doing a bearded Viking trip to shoot moose in Saskatchewan. So that is the bachelor party that I'm hoping that we get.
Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
You want me to go to Canada?
Yeah, they let you take guns to that part.
I don't want to go to Canada.
Oh. Well, we could go to Alaska too.
Well, that sounds way better. At least that's in like America.
Yeah, okay. Well, but the thing is I'm talking about like taking down a moose, which is like 6 times bigger than a deer, and then carrying that shit out. Obviously, I would love it if we could get some Sherpas, but we'll see what happens. Um, we don't have any money, so therefore that's probably not a thing. So that means that it's going to come down to us carrying shit out. And I want everybody to be able to do that. And the reason why I say all these things and the reason why my mind is driven this way is because whenever I do a physical activity, especially if it's outside, I feel so much better, whatever it is. Now, in your case, you're doing the physical activity with your boy, and that is probably one of the most rewarding things you could probably ever do. I don't know because my children were not with me while they were growing up, not by my choice, but because of the circumstances in my life.
Right.
So I mean, like I got to go see gymnastic things when they were young, and I got to go see dance recitals, but I never got to coach a soccer team. I never got to coach a volleyball team. I never got to coach a softball team. I never got to be part of that. I taught all my kids how to ride bikes and all that other shit, but that's different. It's not the same, right? So probably should wrap this up because there's a cool section that I want to get to today. Really cool segment.
I don't know if we have time.
No, we do, because there was this meeting's been running the whole time during the break, so we're still good. So just wrapping up, right? Just a real quick recap, right? Find your way, find out whatever it is that you have to do, whether it's a smile, talking shit, lawyering somebody. If they try to
somebody,
if they're trying to fuck on your mellow, okay. Look at your personal achievements, and however you celebrate them is how you celebrate them. Just try not to be cocky. Be humble in your celebrations if you can. If you have great moments, celebrate them with the people that matter the most to you. That's really that portion. And then get out there and be active, whether that's playing baseball, if that's running, if that's lifting. Put your phone down and go do something outside. Find a way to be active so you can protect yourself and grow and be strong. Whatever your strength is, whatever you look at as your strength, be that. So, are you ready for the next segment?
Let's shoot the J.
All right. So we introduced this with Doc recently. This segment.
Is Doc gonna pop up? Like, is he just gonna show up all of a sudden?
Just show up. That'd be awesome. This segment is called Warrior Culture.
Oh no!
I expect the rainbow to come back. Just so we all know, that was most epic. Yep. Today's section is something that you had to know that the Bearded Viking sponsored podcast for Vikings, Outlaws, and Cowboys would cover pretty quickly in a warrior culture segment. Last time we covered the Spartans, and there's a lot of information that we tried to cover. We kind of touched on it, but today we're going to talk about.
We covered it after.
Yeah.
On subsequent podcasts.
Yeah. And also during that podcast we covered quite a bit. It was a good podcast. But today we're going to talk about the Norse and the Vikings, or Vikinger. So let's start off real quick, okay?
What is a Vikinger?
So it was actually the original term. So Viking is actually a description of somebody who is raiding. A Vikinger is the actual person. You're conducting a raid, which is Viking. You're going out Viking, and the person who's conducting the raid is the raider or the Vikinger.
Okay, I'm just gonna go with it.
It's really cool. So in the Viking system of peoples, or their warrior classes, there were eight main classes, and I'm going to cover them real quick, right? So you had the Berserkers, which we'll touch on here in a second, the Jomsvikings, which were their elite guard, the Ulfhender, which is actually the Odinists, the Shield Maidens, the Skald, the Huskarl, the Jarl, and the Thrall. So I'm going to go over them one by one real quick so we all know, because it's really interesting when you break this down. The Norse peoples, which is all of Scandinavia from Denmark all the way through to Ireland and Iceland and Norway and Greenland.
Mm-hmm.
Most people always think that the Irish weren't part of that. The Vikings even took over part of Germany and also part of Scotland.
And France?
Well, definitely. So let's start talking about the elite warrior types. So first off, you had the Berserkers, right? So these were the fiercest Norse warriors that were out there. They basically fought in a trance-like state. So a lot of them would take the flying air mushrooms before, which are the red mushrooms with the white polka dots, and they would eat them, and they would go into, they would sit around the fire and they'd start chanting and being in a trance, very much like the Native Americans in America before they went out on a raid, like the day before a battle. They were often associated with Odin, but they were not necessarily Odinists. There's a difference between the two. So when they were in that translate frenzy, basically they had heightened strength because they were so focused from things. Okay. And then they would go through like rituals. They would focus on aggression and insensitivity to pain, very much like body hardening exercises.
Body hardening, yeah.
Body hardening sucks. Once they got to this portion, they'd start hallucinating, and they would. The reason why they were so fierce, theories is because they were trained to be aggressive in the state, and they would fight whatever demons appeared in front of them. And since they were in basically a berserker gang, they would be shoulder to shoulder with the people they were fighting with, and that's how they would go through and they would massacre everybody. Now, here's the flip side of things. They would fight so fiercely that most of the time when the battle was done, they would succumb completely to exhaustion or injuries and exhaustion. So these dudes,
so they're like on speed.
sort of. I would say probably more like LSD, but a very, very, very like.
It sounds more like speed. It sounds like Nazis.
Well, they were definitely considered shock troops.
Yeah,
but not Nazis. There's a lot of duality.
Well, I mean, they're not. I mean, like the way that they would like take crystal meth and then fucking.
Oh yeah, I mean that makes sense too.
Stay up for 3 days and then get fucking whooped.
Yes, by Americans. So a lot of people think that they want to be berserkers. Now, here's the thing about a berserker: like if you're going to basically succumb to complete exhaustion after a battle, I feel like that's not really what you want to do, because Vikings wanted to die on the battlefield. That's what they did. The second class of Vikings, which is my favorite class of Viking warriors or Norse warriors, is the Jomsviking. So the Jomsviking, they were actually an elite guard. So they were Viking warriors. There was also mercenaries that were brought into it throughout wherever they would raid. If there were elite warriors, they would make them slaves and train with them, and if they could prove that they were good, then they would be there. Now the Joms Viking, they actually originated in Poland. That's where they started, which was like the present day Poland area, from the Jomsburg fortress. These Vikings were known for adhering to a very strict code of conduct that emphasized loyalty to the brotherhood. By the way, tell me what this reminds you of and why you think this means so much to me. So, loyalty to the brotherhood, courage in battle, and willingness to avenge fallen comrades. And breaking the code would result in severe punishment or expulsion. What does that kind of feel like to you?
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, a little bit of esprit de corps there. So the Jomsvikings were actually sought after by other groups as elite mercenaries, kind of like the French Foreign Legion, but without the French part.
The French Foreign Legion has never been looked at as an elite band of. If the reference you're looking for is Hessians.
Oh yeah, the Hessians. Yeah, except for less cabbage smelling.
I don't think there's a whole lot of cabbage in that part of Germany.
I think that's where sauerkraut came from. I'm pretty sure that all of the cabbage is there.
Not in that part.
Maybe no, but anyway, whatever.
It's a little chilly there.
You can grow cabbage kind of anywhere. It's shit. It's a shit.
You ever grown cabbage?
Yeah.
Have you?
It's grown. It grows in Utah. It grows in Montana. It grows in Alaska. It grows in all the cold places.
Like it definitely does not grow in Alaska, unless it's Anchorage.
No. The during the summertime they have the 3 months of no night, so therefore it grows nonstop.
Anyway,
documented. So the cool thing about these guys is they were elite. But on top of that, they also had these cool like battle tactics. They were very, very skilled in strategy and specifically naval warfare. Vikings are known for their boats, right? So they formed basically a cohesive unit where they would rely on both land and naval battles to overcome and overwhelm their enemy. Their culture was literally basically a bond of brothers, very much like the Marine Corps. So, um, the final one, which is very well known, is the Shield Maidens. So in most warrior cultures, women were assassins. That just is what it is. They would be snipers, they'd be assassins, they would be spies because they could slip through lines. But in the Norse culture, the Shield Maidens were regular women who volunteered to battle. And they would train specifically with utilizing a shield, the weapons training, and then the shield wall, because they understood that without being cohesive and in league with each other, they couldn't overtake masses. And then most of the time in battles, they would fight either on the flank of, left or right flank of the main guard, pushing through the middle, or like right in the middle of that formation. So they'd be right, in the middle of that. So if there was a shield, called a shield maiden regiment, they'd be there, left or right. Those are my three favorite classes. Now there's 8 total that are like most known. There's another one, which is a really kind of weird trip. And they were Odinists. They would wear wolf skin in over their head, and they would pray to Odin, and they would go into a crazy, like a tenfold berserker state, and like all the other warriors would have to keep them in check because afterwards they'd try to fight their own, just to die on the battlefield.
I mean, priorities are priorities, right?
Yeah.
So I think that if we're going to like go through like the class of Vikings and everything like that, I think the class of Vikings that I would probably like most that I would know the most about, or that there's the most history actually written about, that's maybe not like hearsay or um or convoluted,
Mhm.
is maybe when they took over parts of France, they took over parts of England because everybody was absolutely terrified.
Mhm.
And then you get into like Danes, and that whole part of history I think is pretty fascinating. And it's like they originally had no idea where these people are fucking coming from. You have these Vikings that are just showing up off the shores of France, and then off the shores of England, or whatever the hell you wanted to call them, and nobody know where they were coming from. They were absolutely terrified, and they were entirely unprepared. So,
Yeah, and they had their way of, like, the English and the Saxons, they all had their way of fighting.
mhm,
And the Vikings didn't fight that way.
right, and I think like the correlation between the Vikings, the Marine Corps, or the Marine Corps and the Spartans, stuff like that. I think those correlations are pretty awesome because it's just a wily bunch of dudes that are pissed off because they were on a boat,
Mhm.
and once they got off the boat, they were even more pissed because they had to take a boat that long, because they're all like, if you line them up, all three are seafaring,
Mhm.
and you had to ride a goddamn boat somewhere.
And if you've never ridden in a boat, like it sucks. It's
And
fucking
their
terrible.
boats were a little bit more rickety than ours.
Yeah, there wasn't even like a place to get shitty food. They just had shitty food. Like you had to carry your own shitty food for 3
Yeah.
months.
Yeah, your biscuits. Uh, there was no bacon or powdered eggs.
They did have booze though on those ships.
That's true. That's where they had it, and the Marine Corps didn't.
Yeah.
There's no booze on the Marine Corps ships. But so the correlation between those is I think really cool. And then, so I wouldn't say like that I have like a specific like Viking that I like the best. I think the different parts of the history is really cool, and the parts of that Viking culture that went all the way east to
Hmm.
Russia. I think that part is really cool too. I mean,
And
you
and
literally had a culture that spanned the whole entire world,
mhm.
and whether it was the warrior class or whether it was like the traders, like it was really cool, but a lot of it had to do with a boat. So
Mhm.
maybe I'm just asking for permission to cross the patio, Daddy-o.
I actually
But
have
we're jumping on a boat.
you talked about the yacht before that you want. So that's fair. I actually have I'm surprised there are two things real quick because one of these reminds me of you a little bit. So you have the Jarl class, which is the chieftain class. So they would go and they would support the king's decisions and go lead as like a
Yeah,
colonel on the battlefield.
it's a political class.
Well, yeah, it's a aristocratic class, right? Yeah, it's same. But there's one Viking that I'm surprised that you didn't bring up, and that would be Rollo the Walker, because you brought up all the places he like the main places. So Rollo, much like yourself. No, wait, you went to Normandy, right? No, no, I went to
Yes,
Normandy.
I
Yes,
did. I went
yeah,
to
we both
Normandy
did.
also.
Yeah. So
Normandy is actually where part of my family's from.
so you could be a Viking too.
No, it's very much in the blood. I'm just a browner version because I have more parts than one.
That's fair. I don't think anybody has just one part. You know, there's that.
There's very few nowadays, but yeah, no, definitely all the genealogy and names and stuff like that. And I did like actual genealogy,
Hmm?
not 23andMe, where you could be like related to a Doberman,
Hmm, fair.
and then it got sold to the government. So I did like actual genealogy based off of
Yeah,
and um, just where everybody came from and everything like that.
that's awesome.
And yeah, so as far as Normandy goes, there's a huge portion that was in Normandy.
So speaking of what you just said, Rollo the Walker, he ended up becoming the Duke of Normandy. He met what was the king's name? It was King Charles the Simple. Like he was a simpleton. Like he, in the show Vikings, you see how he's portrayed, and how his dad was Charlemagne. But basically, let's make sure like everyone understands. Like the show The Vikings is a great movie, a great show. It's a flick. There's no hard evidence that Ragnar Lothbrok actually existed, other than the sagas that are told about him, which is how they pass down history. But he came so far before like Rollo and, yeah, like Bjorn
Like Bjorn,
Ironsides
yeah.
and like Ivar the Great, who actually Ivar never spent any real time except for when he was a child in like Norway. He conquered Ireland. He was the king of Ireland, which is crazy. But they all say that they were the son of Ragnar Lothbrok, or the brother. But Rollo specifically, like he'd been raiding so long that when he went to Normandy, the King Charles basically said, "Dude, hey, don't fucking raid here, man. I don't want I don't want your death, bro. I'm terrified. Here's some riches." And eventually he married the king's daughter, and they fathered the future son. Rollo's son ended up being the first Norman king of England.
Isn't it like mind blowing how Germany, France, England,
Sorry, great
it's
grandson.
all one big ass family?
Yeah, they're all lizard people anyways. We've talked for all
Yeah,
we
like
know.
they're all one big ass family.
Yeah.
It's
It
really
was
weird.
so Rollo's great grandson was actually the William the Conqueror, who made him the first. He was the first Norman king of England, which is interesting because Normandy is part of France and England. France and England don't mesh. They've been battling as long as like the Jewish and Muslims over in the Middle East.
They've been battling, but they mesh very well.
Yeah, well,
They
I mean,
they've literally, I mean, they're all one family.
yeah.
And so it's like, even like during Middle Ages, like they were cousins. Was it the Henry VIII?
Yeah.
I mean, he was cousins with the king of France at the time too. So, I mean, there's a lot of history that goes back, but it's only a couple families that have.
What was it like during World War One? Like the king of Russia, the king of Germany,
The
whatever,
Duke. Yeah.
and then the king of England were all cousins. Is that
Yeah.
right?
Yes. Yes, they
Um,
were.
yeah, like Prince Ferdinand gets shot and then assassinated, and like the Archduke of Germany or whatever he was like the brother of the king of England or something. I don't fucking remember. They all
Well,
used.
it's even like during World War II, like the royal family of Germany, I think, went uh to England
Yeah.
to ride the whole thing out. And then, like, if you start connecting the dots, then you like start getting like Rothschilds and all kinds of shit like that, and
So you're
it
saying
all
a
kind of
bunch
wraps back around. And it's
bunch of
really the Vikings' fault because they didn't kill enough people.
that, or they just intermingled enough where they
Yeah,
brought all that. That's fair.
yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because you brought up like moving as far east and then expanding to the west, where they're finding um, these Norse villages that are like that the ice melt has now melted down far enough where they're finding actual. This is like the nerd part of me because I love history, um, but they're actually finding like Norse villages that are being uncovered from so much time underneath the ice, and you're like, holy shit! So the first white men in North America were not. It was not Columbus. It wasn't. It was.
No, that's
It,
been confirmed like a long
yeah,
time ago.
right. Or it wasn't the Mayflower, or it wasn't whatever, right? Like whatever weird shit the history books say. It was actually the Norse. And then you look and you're like, oh shit, they also moved all the way down to like the Middle East for the Spice Road, right? Like they helped establish a trade route from the Spice Road through Europe, which is mind blowing for people. And the cool thing about the Norse people is they were very refined. Like they were very clean. They find all these artifacts like these combs and all this beautiful paintings and shit. And you're like, wait, hold on. Was this really like a not educated culture? Because it's not. That's not the truth. Like when people talk about Vikings, they just think about raiding and
It was just
all
a
that other
warrior.
shit.
It was a warrior class,
Yeah,
but that
for
doesn't
sure.
mean the warrior class was never taught anything or that they
Yeah,
weren't smart.
yeah.
Look at
They
us
had
now.
they had they had lots of crayons back then,
Yeah,
dude. For
tons
real.
of crayons.
Um, I think that it's really cool that you brought up that part where they're all seafaring as well. That's interesting because you look at the elite warrior classes in like all the world, right? Here's an interesting fact, right? The greatest warrior class, the class that actually beat Xerxes, that was invading um, Greece, was the Athenians, and they won the greatest naval battle ever, like recorded, um, in the Mediterranean Sea, and that's what they did, and their warriors were both land and sea warriors, which is interesting. Then you have like the Vikings, and you have the Marines, and then countless other classes of people that were multifaceted. It's pretty
Yeah,
wild.
it's just it's a totally
So do you have to be
it's.
good at? Do you have to be good on a boat to be good on land? Is that how that works?
I think if you don't control the sea, you don't control anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a ton of correlation there.
Well, it's.
And
Do you think it's interesting that history repeats itself with warrior classes like that?
I mean, it's definitely interesting, but it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. So would you say that it would be behoove us as a culture, as a current modern day life to understand history so we can understand what's going to happen in the future?
Maybe it might be imperative for those that are not with Navy to
It feels so dirty saying that.
I don't at all. If I wasn't in the Marine Corps, I wouldn't have gone to the fucking Army. Looking at you, guy. I would have gone to the Navy.
Yeah, I was on a Navy boat and I was like, nah, man, I'm not built for this.
Dude. I would have definitely gone to the Navy. Dude,
Well, I mean,
the Navy fucks, dude. Doesn't
yeah,
matter.
sheep.
But break out your Velcro gloves. You're the guy that's on the ground. They don't have sheep on the ship.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, I'm a sheep that bites, so it's that I was left alone. I don't push back, bro.
Eh. No, I think that yeah, the power in the military is definitely most certainly exemplified by the Navy. And the fact that we can shoot fucking planes off of our ships, that just kicks it up another notch, dude. That's like Emerald. Just
yeah, I think that's real. I agree with it, and I'll fucking run aside, right? It's really interesting because until recent history, 100 years ago, right, there was never airborne combat.
or was there?
Well, obviously there was, but we can't confirm that. We believe it to be true with the Tartarians and
I don't know. The
Atlantis.
Vedas all believe it very well to be true.
Yeah, well, okay, so like let's say current known human history. Like
I mean air superiority is key, right?
yeah.
But
Before that though,
in the ancient world, you don't hear anything about the Greeks, the Romans, the Persians flying planes.
I don't remember who did that. I want to say it was Persians to walk their elephants across.
I don't. It's been done a few times, right?
Yeah, I think like Alexander the Great did some crazy shit.
Yeah, Alexander the Great was
It might have been
absolutely insane. He definitely did that.
yeah, and maybe that's what I'm referencing. But like they did, like I think I want to say it was Xerxes that did it first. Because it was during the Great.
What water did Xerxes have to cross?
Well, because he came all the way up to he ruled all the way through Egypt, so he would have come across from Egypt through the Mediterranean.
So, Romans, Greeks, Mongols. Romans, Greeks, and Mongols.
So then it was the Greeks that probably did it first. Well, I don't know. Maybe it was the Mongols. Like the Mongols, that's before Greece, right? Where the fuck were they were going?
Everywhere, dude.
Yeah, like Genghis Khan was just like, or Genghis Khan was like, "Hey bitches, we're gonna go to Greece. Give them that olive skin."
Yeah. So it helps if you spell stuff right.
Well, maybe. That's all relative.
You have to do spaces and stuff. I mean, they like the Persians had a navy, but their navy wasn't that good, right? Because even like during like the battle of like the 300, most of their navy got just smoked.
Smoked by the Athenians, yeah.
Well, no, it got smoked by storms and stuff too. Like the movie reigns true when it comes to that.
Yeah.
Nothing. See, I told you it wasn't gonna work twice in a row.
Bullshit. Bullshit. They did get smoked by that, but they still had a whole shitload comparative. Because like the Persian army was like 1 million strong, and like the Greek army was like 40 or 50,000, or 400,000. It was like 400,000.
Yeah, no, the Persians
the
definitely
Spartans
didn't have
that
a
were
navy.
40 to 50,000. Yeah.
But yeah, the Spartans were small but mighty.
Yeah. Interesting food for thought. And I love going into history and I love talking about the warrior culture because I like to equate to us as men today and like see where things are missing and where things are the same. And from my perspective, not much is missing other than they didn't have social media back then.
No, the biggest part that's missing is the history, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, uh, and I'll take you to a recent place where Tucker Carlson just interviewed Putin,
Mm-hmm.
and he got frustrated because Putin gave him a history lesson.
Mm-hmm.
But he was frustrated because he didn't actually know the history, I think. So when Putin went all the way back and gave the history of Russia
Mm-hmm.
during like the first like 30 minutes of that interview,
Yeah,
that's the shit that like most of America needs to focus on.
I think so
It
too.
That history says a whole lot about who they are and what they are. Because without their history, there isn't anything like there is no Russia. There's like if the Vikings didn't show up, there would be less of a Russian footprint.
Mm-hmm.
And if Germany wasn't close with them, there wouldn't have been either. Um, and then you try and like do a direct correlation with the United States history, where you
Mm-hmm.
have a country that's almost 1,000 years old versus a country that's 50 years away from being 300 years.
Yeah,
you know,
300. Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, they might have gone through some ups and downs. Like they might have figured some stuff out.
Yep.
It's not a thing.
It's the thing, man. It's the thing.
It's not a thing.
We should probably wrap up though. This has been a good podcast, like very mellow. I think it's been awesome to have a kind of a good kind of down home podcast.
Would you call it down home?
Yeah, down home. For sure. So I'd like to wrap it up with just a thought for anybody who's made it this far. Uh, what would you say the warrior culture you align with the most is? Let us know. Drop us a note because I'd like to hear what you'd like us to talk about ahead of time so we can actually do a lot more research on it because this stuff is really cool. I learned this stuff in our school circles, talk about MICMAP when I was a young Marine and carried it forward.
Marine Corfu.
Hmm. So let's go ahead and wrap up the awesome podcast. What shout outs you got, bro?
Dented Brick Distillery.
Yeah, they've got a lot of great gins and vodkas too. So I don't drink tequila very often because I don't like to be naked fighting.
Oh, why not?
Because like things can get pulled more than they can when you're clothed.
That checks out. Like an extra
Yeah,
tuggy.
like not a fun tug though.
Yeah.
uh, so okay, who else you got?
Dude, is it like an acceptance speech? Like I want to thank God. I want to thank my
No,
mom.
no,
I want to thank all my peeps. Like
no. Your mom does listen. Mom does listen to the podcast.
mom does. Yeah. She's been disappointed more than once.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. She's had multiple conversations with both of us drunk, so she understands where we're at in life.
Yeah,
So
she's
there's
on the
that.
podcast.
I would feel bad for her. She was on the podcast.
I would too.
Okay, cool. I got a couple of new shout outs
New ones.
new ones. Yeah, man. I would like to shout out. Maybe they're not new. They're recent. I'd like to shout out to Nick, Boondock guy,
Boondock Dad.
Boondock Dad. I don't know why keep thinking it's Boondock guy. I'd like to shout out to Nick for just being an absolute holy shit. You guys are awesome. I want to listen to you. Found you organically, guy. Super dope. I'd like to shout out to my boy John Luthi over in Wisconsin for really pushing what we got going on with the podcast and just being an absolute terrorist of a supporter. Just in the background, doesn't comment, doesn't send much information, but he just reaches out and tells me he cares. And
So he's staying toxic.
yeah, he's super
That's good.
fucking toxic.
We
Um,
we just
super.
got in trouble from our producer for being long-winded.
Oh well. So then also I'd like to do a huge shout out to two other people, to Zach and Bryant. Their brothers. Bryant served in the army, was blown up, and to Zach, who was the JTAC over in Afghanistan. And they both are awesome dudes. Zach only has he's got one leg from his blast remaining, and he played softball with me. And sorry, got that wrong. Bryant has one leg. Zach has TBIs from blasts as well. And I just want to tell him thanks for listening, because I know you guys don't comment, but I know you guys are here for us. So with that being said, I am Vico the Bearded One.
And I'm the RO. Stay weird, weirdos.
And cheers, motherfuckers. Much love.
You know what you're doing. You've played this game before. Your mind was made up once you walked through the door. Then you go dancing dirty.
In your life.
Are you asking me this?
Yeah, that's why I said, how do you?
Oh, I thought it was like a rhetorical thing.
That's a generalized statement, but I'm asking you because you're the only other person here. Yeah. Nobody
That
else is
checks
here.
out. That checks out. What the fuck is going on with your bird? Is there a bird back there? What?
No. That's
What is that?
that's the cleaning thing for the for her
Oh, okay.
her stuff. I forgot about it.
I'm really confused about the whole thing.
No, she's outside hanging out.